County's got it.
Great. So this is the dashboard. This is the main dashboard for the application for the system, and it shows all of the action items that need to be addressed. And with what Jim was talking about before, it doesn't matter who's adding these action items, which I'll go over in a second. Everything that's added into the system shows up on the screen. And this is a great sort of overview of what's going on and what's open, basically. I'll touch upon, we have statuses as well. So as things are created, as these actions are created, they're set to an open status and they have priorities. So we have the standard sort of protocols for the status names and the priorities names. And once those action items are closed, they come off this dashboard. So it's a very clean look and it's always up to date. Now, with this dashboard, it could be a little overwhelming depending on the incident that's occurring. Right now, I left our training incident online, which was the Trinity exercise at Hudson County. And you can see here that this is the main incidents that's occurring right now. And all of these are action items that are associated with that incident. The headers are all sortable, standard sort of features and functionality. You can have multiple incidences occurring at the same time, which we hope doesn't happen, but they all collapse and you can, administrators can create more incidents. And then action items will be added to those specific incidences as well. So the main dashboard has all of the information, all the action items that are going on. The My OEM dashboard is specific to the ESFs. So we have users that have been entered into the system, and each user is assigned an ESF. They may or may not be, but for demonstrational purposes, I've added my own user account to ESF number 1, which is transportation, 2, which is communication, 4, firefighting, and 6, mass care. Normally, you would have one user associated to one ESF group, but this is just an example of having multiple to one, basically. Now, you can see here, the dashboard is condensed, and it's only the action items that are associated with my ESF group. So I'm not going to see anything outside of my 1, 2, 4, and 6. And these are the action items that I need to address because they're assigned to my ESF. So it makes it very easy for the user. It eliminates all the noise, everything else going on. This is their action items. These are the items that need to be addressed. These are the items that they need to close. So that's the My OEM view. Just to give you a quick overview also, you can filter these down. So you can filter them by submitted by. I would be I can see what I've submitted. But if you want to see what other people have submitted, you can do it by the submitted by. You can do it by ESF groups. So you can click in to see if you're interested in what's going on with number 13, public safety and security. You can click into that ESF group to see their action items. You can also see it by status. And then this is a good feature too, where you can set the refresh rate of this page. So it can automatically refresh every 1, 2, 3, 10, that sort of thing. So you don't have to sit there and refresh the page. It'll automatically refresh, and you'll automatically see what's in your action to-do list. Now, that's the My OEM dashboard. Now, to give you an idea of how these actions are entered into the system, what I'll do is I'll walk you through adding an action. So, and again, this could be any ESF that either picks up the phone, gets the paper, has to enter an action item. And this is basically like their script. So if you could, visualize, everyone's in their location, the phone rings, I pick up the phone, I say, okay, what's the requesting agency? It could be, the town of Hoboken. It could be Jersey City Fire. It could be anyone. Now, this is their list of going down, all right, who's calling, what's your email, what's your phone, and then the location. So, the location is integrated directly with Google Maps. So we can start typing in 200 Hudson Street in Hoboken. Maybe there was a building collapse. The Google Maps is integrated directly with the location's integrated directly with Google Maps, which will show the location when we preview the action item that was entered. So we want to give it an action description, which could be, you know, building collapse, and then more details. Those are that's the main criteria that we're looking for to build our action item. And then we have the priorities pre-populated, the status pre-populated. And now that you know all this information, you can make an assumption as to who is it assigned to. And now you can set it to the specific ESF group. If it's fire related, you know, it might not necessarily be related to your ESF group, but this is one way where we're capturing data at the earliest point and entering it into the system. And then once this action is added and saved, it'll automatically pop up on the ESF's MyOEM as well as the dashboard. But more importantly, you can see on top of the page where we have alerts. You know, we didn't want to bombard the system with bells and whistles and all these alerts, but because I'm logged in, the system knows what ESF groups I'm associated with, and it'll show me on top of the screen that new actions have been entered and they have an open status and that I need to address them. So depending on your ESF group and your login, you'll receive different notifications. So that's just a good example of the full circle of, you know, your dashboard, you have your MyOEM, you're entering in your action items, and you're receiving notifications if an action item needs to be addressed by your ESF. Now, I'm going to go into MyOEM to show you an action item. So this is the action item itself. It's the overview of, you know, you have your requesting agency, you have the name, the email, the location. So you have your action title. I'll actually go into one that's here. So you have your action location. So you have your action title, which is, you know, Paddock reports an accident on the Casciano Bridge. A little more detailed. Again, your statuses, who's it assigned to, you know, who submitted it, when it was submitted. And now here's more of, you know, part of the collaboration aspect of the system where we have our timeline and our comments. So here you can see when it was reported. So Jim Kennelly reported the accident. You can see who entered the information, and you can click here to add an action comment. Now these action comments are great because this is how you sort of build your case in closing, your steps on what you did to address this action. Who did you call? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting on resources? That sort of thing. And then we also have a document manager. So say, for example, you know, there's a map that needs to be uploaded. There's forms that need to be uploaded, hospital-related forms, et cetera, for a specific action. And any documents that are uploaded to an action itself can also be found in the files document manager here as well. So everything is really in one centralized location, so you can go back and forth. Just to add on my collaboration point there as well, from here, you could communicate in between ESFs and users that are logged into the system in real time with the chat feature. So you can see that submitted by was Kay O'Reilly, and I clicked on his email address. You know, he's not online right now, but I would be able to initiate a chat conversation within seconds if I wanted to follow up, if I had more questions regarding this. You know, one example would be O'Reilly created this action item and assigned it to me, but, you know, I just might give him a little clarification and say a little more feedback, say, you know, I received the action item you added into my account and I've addressed it, you know, just to give you a heads up. Or if you have any questions, phone numbers. So it's very quick for communication in real time. So that is the overview of the action itself. Now, when the action comes in and you address, say, you know, you make a phone call and you want to close the action, all you have to do is change the status from open to close and then save the change, and that will automatically remove it from the dashboard. It automatically removes it from your MyOEM list, and those can always be retrieved through the search and reporting features that we have here. So this is the search aspect of the application. You can drill it down by days as well as time. So if you wanted to see specific information based on, 11 between 10 and 11, what happened between those hours, it'll pull up all of the records, all of the actions that occurred between those hours. You can also, restrict the search results to an ESF group. So we can do firefighting. You can do priorities and statuses, what's closed. And then you can also include the action log, which is very helpful in the next feature I'm going to show you. So if I click search, here's all of the firefighter ESF4 related actions that were added during our incident the other day. So you can see, we have developed multiple decon sites, need to develop a plan for backfill stations, and then these are the actions that were added as well as time-stamped and who made those entries. So develop multiple decon sites, you can see at 10:22, at 1:37, set up 3 additional decon sites, and you can follow the workflow and the process on how they close this action. A couple of other features that we have here, you can export these to Excel, to PDF, you can print them. So again, these are great for action item reviews during the incident. If it's between 10 and 11, you need to update, users or report to someone in terms of what's going on. You can run that report and then print it out, and it's in a very neat, clean format. To add on to that, what we did was we've added integration with the New Jersey State SIT report. So this is a good feature where you can select the action items that you want to be added to this SIT report. And I'll just check a few, for example. So we have these 4 here, and then we're going to generate a SIT report based on on the ones that I clicked. I'm just going to save it and open it up so you guys can see. Now, this is actually the latest SIT report that the state released. And you can see now my 4 action items have been added to the county and municipality issues. And it's the same format, the SIT report that they require in return. Again, this is Excel. It's the actual report with our issues that we checked off that we wanted to include. And again, if you need to make any changes, it's Excel. So you can go in here and just start typing information, save it, and then send off the report. So there's additional integration here, which is very useful. Now, lastly, what I want to do is just go over some of these other features. I discussed the files, so you have your file directory here, and then we also have a user directory. So if you needed to get in touch with someone, you weren't sure who was in public safety ESF 13, you can easily find their contact information, and then you can also initiate a chat conversation real quick. A lot of the additional sort of features that we have on these are filters within the tables. So if you just wanted to look for public safety, I just started typing in PUBLI, and all the public started to show up. So everything, we try to stress everything happening in real time, quick, get to data, and that's what the system's really all about. Which brings us to, sort of the last part of the demo, which is actually the back end core of the demo, which could be the first, is our settings. So our settings consist of groups, categories, ticket statuses, priority levels, and user accounts. To give you an idea, now we have categories, which is from the state. So, it's planned event, power outage, terrorism. This is incident-related categories. You can add and remove, again, as all of these, and edit it on the fly. Now we have our groups, which is, the responders, who's going to be assigned these actions. You can go in here and create additional groups, edit group names. Once you have your groups, we have the ticket statuses, so you can add and remove statuses. One, for example, that we found that is an addition that is helpful is to add a status called information only. So what we found out during our exercise is a lot of those actions that are open aren't really actions that need to be addressed. They're actually just informational only. For example, financing came through, those sort of examples, which would just be informational only, And now you can assign that status so it doesn't look like there's open action items that need to be addressed. And then we have our priority levels, critical, high, medium, and low. Again, customizable, add, edit, and update these. And then the real core of the system is the user administration aspect of it. So we can go in here, we can create, unlimited number of users. You can assign them to unlimited number of groups or ESF groups. So once you create the user, you can, edit their information, and then you can also assign them to the ESF groups. So this is where you'll be able to assign multiple users to multiple groups. So let me just type in myself as an example. So you can see here, I'm assigned to 1, 2, 4, and 6. Now, I can add more. I can only assign myself to 1. And then when I go back to the MyOEM dashboard, it'll only show me what groups I've been assigned and those action items that are open for those specific groups. And that is really the general overview of the system of, from start to finish from the dashboard to the settings.